Hello everyone, my name is Mathieu van der Scheide. I'm a partner manager at Odoo, and I'm very happy to welcome Simon Stappen, a managing partner from our gold partner company in Germany, Much Consulting. Welcome, Simon.
Thank you so much, Mathieu. Thanks for having me.
How is your experience so far?
My experience has been going great. The talks are amazing. And yeah, we have a booth this year with a big coffee machine serving the best coffee here. So that works really well.
Bringing a lot of people, right?
Yes, I think there were over 600 people already at our booth.
Wow. So a lot of discussions. You brought a big part of your team as well, right? So
yeah, we brought about 15 people, yes.
Wow, amazing. And very happy that your experience is the same as mine. So very, very exciting. Actually, Simon, could you tell me who is Much Consulting actually?
Much Consulting is an Odoo Gold partner from Munich, Germany. Mm-hmm. We also have an office in Lisbon and Portugal, where we mostly serve international clients from. Mm-hmm. And right now, we have about 75% customers in the DACH region, mostly Germany and Switzerland. Mm-hmm. And a few international clients from all over Western Europe and the US.
Mm-hmm. And your team, like how many people?
We're 70 people.
Wow.
Right now, the majority are actually consultants. So we have 45 consultants and just a few engineers, about 20 engineers. And we really focus on the consulting part, making sure that Odoo is used with all its power and try to avoid unnecessary customizations where possible and bring the most business value to our customers.
So very close to the Odoo implementation methodology, right?
Exactly. I think the philosophy is very close together, that we're trying, to keep it simple and keep it standard. But we're actually doing it at a little bit bigger customers most of the time. So that's an additional challenge, yeah.
Amazing. Have you noticed some changes since you've become a partner and actually today? So actually your Much is a partner, Odoo partner since 2018, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, we're an Odoo partner since 2018. We have been around before doing more IT consulting. And actually it has been a crazy ride, a crazy transition over the time. When we started out with Odoo, we were 3 people. And with the growth of Odoo, both on the company side, but also especially on the product side, we have grown with it. And there's so many things, but I think on the product, the most important parts are the really big improvements in accounting. We started out version 10, 11. Accounting was a big challenge back then. And today it's really, really great with the cooperation with KPMG. And especially since Odoo 13, it has really, really improved a lot. So we really, really like that.
Also for the German market, you mean? Or?
Yes, both in general, but also for the German market, it has improved a lot actually. So when we started, the localization was basically only the chart of accounts. Now there's like 6-7 modules for different areas, and they cover everything, also assets and data, and so it has become very broad. But also on the international side, as I said, we have a lot of international customers that then are always, multi-company, multi-country setups. And
more complex projects, you mean, as well?
Yeah, a lot more complex. And then usually you have to consolidate and you have transfer pricing. And even these, I would say, the most advanced topics that you have in finance, they're also covered a lot better in Odoo today than they have been when we started out. Yeah.
Amazing. I'd like to pick up, on the last point about your customers. So, what is the average size of the companies, of the clients you support throughout Odoo projects?
Yeah, so we do support a little bit smaller clients as well, but usually only when we have a very good fit. And most of the accounts that we work with are 50 to 1,000 employees. And we also do work with a couple of very large corporates, one of the largest utility companies in Europe, a very large oil and gas company where we're luckily working on the e-charging.
International footprint in that case as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have a lot of very big customers as well, but our main business are the mid-sized companies, also where the German strength is really in the economy. Yeah.
And is there, it's maybe a generic question, I would say, but can you tell what are the main pain points actually for which your customers call on you?
Yeah, so it always depends a little bit, but I think there's a few things things that connect them all. And the first one, and I think this is the most important, is that usually they want to optimize and professionalize their IT and their processes. I think this is always the main driver, right? Which in the end is a driver for efficiency.
Exactly.
But on top of this, I think what is often the case, especially with mid-sized companies with a grown architecture, is that there's a lot of different systems. They all have a different specialization, but they're not integrated. So this integrated nature of Odoo, that you can put everything into one system, is a very big driver. And Odoo really gives you the power to just digitize throughout your business. We usually start as small as possible, so with like a minimum setup, where with the most important things. But then we extend and we can really digitize also all the side departments, all the side processes, HR as well. And we have a lot of customers, for example, they are not service companies and they don't operate projects for their customers, but they use the project app internally. And I think this is really a big advantage of Odoo as well, that you have the breadth of the system that allows you to digitize really anything a company does, I would say.
Yes, but because it's very interesting what you're telling, because with more than, I think, over 100 customer references now, which is pretty crazy, being a partner since 2018 and gold partner, I think since 2019.
Yeah, I think it was about a year after we started. Yeah.
But my question here: do you witness some recurrent needs or pain points from these customers?
Yeah, besides all the technical things I've touched on, the most important thing outside of that is really the change management. So usually introducing a new ERP, it's kind of like the heart surgery in a company. And
I can only confirm.
Yeah, today the challenge is not so much in the technology. We are working on Odoo. The technology is it's very, very good. It's not like in the 80s or 90s where technology was actually the big problem everybody had. And actually getting the people on board, making sure that all the operational people that actually do the projects, they're involved and they can discuss their requirements. We do a lot of change management then as well on the training side. We usually do workshops where we present the prototypes to the users. We train key users, so the company builds some internal knowledge, not only on Odoo, but also on how to digitize the business. So they're not indefinitely reliant, for everything on us. And then we actually use the Odoo Knowledge app a lot to actually build a knowledge base about the processes and the system inside of Odoo. And as you know, you have the little book since the last version with the search, and that's really, really important as well. So when new people start, they can have a look there. And we also record all the trainings. And I know this always sounds like really basic and like everyone, would do that. But from our experience, this is the point where companies save the money the first. So as a service provider, this is the core success driver for the project. So you really have to double down and make sure that companies don't forget the people that are working there. And I think this also goes very well with what Fabienne, the CEO of Odoo, is always promoting, that they're building software for the people that actually do the work.
Absolutely.
And I think this is actually the key to the project as well.
Exactly, and the solution has to be, as you just said, to be adopted by the end users as well, right? Yeah,
the best IT system doesn't add any value if people don't like it or don't want to use it or don't know how to. So this is a really, really big topic as well. Yeah,
and that's why they should work with Much.
That's what we hope. Yes,
exactly. In terms of like, what are the real benefits, in your opinion, to work with a local partner or with an Odoo partner in general?
I think there's so many different topics also based on what your needs are. The most obvious one, I think, with the local partners is that obviously the local partners understand the culture a lot better, so they can get the people on board a lot easier. We obviously, we speak language. We also speak about 20 other languages, but speaking German in Germany is critical, especially on the shop floor, especially on the operational side. And then in each country, usually you need accounting, right? And the accounting works very different. For example, the German and the French accounting, their very philosophy is different. So I think a French partner could very difficultly implement the German accounting. So I think then you need a local partner. In general, I think the partners are also needed because They usually specialize, so they have expertise in specific industries, which I think is not really the focus of Odoo to provide. So this is always a great touch point.
So adapt
as well.
the framework, you mean?
Adapt the framework and already know what they need, what features are important, how the workarounds go. And obviously the client saves a lot of time if they don't have to explain us everything from the beginning. So we usually select consultants that have done similar projects before. And this is actually also why we split our consulting in different teams that are all specialized on an industry. So we have an e-commerce team where we do actually a lot of bigger e-commerce customers. So it's usually 1,000 orders or more per day, up to, I think the biggest day we ever had at a client was about 320,000 orders that we processed with Odoo. That was a good challenge back then as well, to make sure that this goes through on a Black Friday.
With orders, you mean transactions as well in that case, right?
Yeah, so 320,000 orders, shipments, and invoices. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening
Crazy.
then. And there we really focus on the automation. A lot of the customers are direct-to-consumer plays, and it's very integration-heavy. And it's always international. Most of these companies, they sell all over the EU and then in the US and some other markets. And then in our manufacturing consulting team, we focus once on the compliance-heavy manufacturing.
Like medtech, for instance?
Exactly, medtech, automotive, is very high aviation. So everywhere, where you really need to make 100% sure that everything is working, very high quality, traceability requirements. And on the other side, we work with some chemical companies and a lot with industrial engineering, plant engineering companies. And that's always a great fit for Odoo because it mixes the service and the manufacturing part really well, because they make large machines. Absolutely. And then they go anywhere in the world and put them up in the factories. And this is obviously very large in Germany. And this is an amazing use case for Odoo actually. So we do that a lot. And then last, we have a team only for services. And here we do a lot of media companies actually. We do consultancies and agencies, and then we work with IT companies. So this is both like software service mixed, but also a lot of software companies that really focus on the license. So like Odoo basically, where we have a lot of companies in IT security and this kind of stuff. There's a lot of specialized software where then Odoo is a great fit to manage the entire lifecycle, the support, everything. And last but not least, not an industry specialization, but we have a team just for corporates, because we learned that big companies, they have very unique needs. And they all also need a bit of an individual setup. So we have one team that's only specialized in working with the biggest customers. So these are all accounts with more than 1,000 employees. A bit
similar like the Odoo MMC team, right?
Exactly, a bit similar to the Odoo MMC team. And there we really do some of the most challenging Odoo projects that you can find around.
Well, very interesting, because actually, it's interesting because you target a broad scope of different customers from different industries, but still very structured internally to actually respond to the needs of those clients, right?
Obviously, you cannot do everything, right? There's a lot of things where we also, when we get a request, we just recommend the partner where we know they're better suited than us, because there's just a few things that we don't have the expertise. And we actually started out from the e-commerce side, implemented a lot of big e-commerce companies in the beginning, and then whenever we reach a certain size, we have the capacity and the manpower to build the know-how in another area, and then we branch out a little bit.
Amazing. So just a small question from my side. Also, when talking about e-commerce projects, you mean as well like integrations with marketplaces, but also third-party e-commerce softwares directly with Odoo, right?
Yeah. So especially for business B2C use cases and D2C use cases, we don't use the Odoo internal e-commerce module. There's always an additional shop system. We are also not a shop agency, so we don't really have the great know-how how to do the analytics and do the UX and optimize the page, right? So that's not what we do. We make sure that the product will arrive amazingly and the shipping is as cheap as possible and the warehouse works out well. So we don't do the shops. What we actually do use Odoo e-commerce a lot for is in B2B use cases when you have a reordering business, you have some consumables as part of your machine.
Exactly.
Then Odoo e-commerce is really amazing because you can make a closed shop every customer has their price list in the shop automatically.
Yeah.
And for these use cases, it's really amazing. And there we use it a lot as well. But we work both with a lot of external shop systems, Shopify, Shopware, Magento, all the big ones. We work with Channel Engine for marketplace aggregation. And I mean, we do use some other ways as well, especially for Amazon. But we do work a lot with marketplace aggregators there. And actually, most of our e-commerce companies have external warehouses integrated as well, because they don't operate all their warehouses themselves. So as I said, e-commerce is highly automated and highly integrated to be really, really efficient and really good.
Yeah, can tell. Absolutely. And coming back to the methodology, so does much consulting apply a specific methodology when it comes to the implementation of a project? Can this methodology maybe vary actually from one project to another? I guess yes, but maybe you can elaborate on that.
Yeah, so I would make 3 groups here. For smaller accounts, which I said we do, for example, in e-commerce, where we have all the integrations and so on, so we can do smaller companies as well. We do something that's very similar to Odoo Quick Start, get going as quick as possible, roll out as quick as possible, and configure on the run, which is also great for smaller accounts because they learn more in the implementation. So this is bracket 1. It works, I would say, roughly up to 30 or 40 days maximum implementation budget. Otherwise, it would be too chaotic for a big project. And then on the bigger projects, we actually always start out with a conceptual project. So we go first. There's, also the customer doesn't have to commit for the whole project. They just commit for a concept. And this is then usually based on the workshops to do requirements engineering. We go usually very deep because the issues are always in the details. The high-level stuff is always the same every company, but then in the process there's where the magic happens. So we do workshops there. We do proof of concept.
On-site workshops sometimes.
Yes, we do on-site as well. Yeah, especially when you have a shop floor, doing on-site is very important, right? You need to go there. You need to see it. You need to talk with the people. But we also go internationally on-site quite regularly. And then we also do the array analysis, and we do classic gap analysis, which we also provide to our customers, so they can get some other bits in, just to make sure there's fair competition and the customers are 100% sure they get the best option with us. And then in this area, we often, especially mid-sized customers, we also do not only ask the people how they do the process, but we also help them to develop a new process and really improve it. Because if you implement new, right, you have the great chance to also improve some processes on the way. And we often look at the IT architecture, find out what other systems exist, find a long-term strategy, how maybe some tools they will stay forever because they're amazing, and some other tools we can integrate into Odoo and simplify the landscape of the customer. So we actually also do that. And then when we completed this phase and we have the full design, the concept, obviously nothing is written in stone, right? You're gonna have to be agile. So then we use an agile Kanban-based methodology to implement the projects. And usually we have dedicated then consultants and engineers on the project, and we bring in our finance consultants that implement finance because it's kind of its own world. So this is always an additional guy doing the finance part. And then we roll out these customers. And as soon as they're live with their first scope, we usually already have a second phase planned for improvements, getting some more new apps in, because we want to keep the first phase small, right? So we already scoped this in the beginning. And then most of our customers stick around indefinitely, and we just help them improve the system, maintain it, do some optimizations, automate here and there. So usually it's a really long-term collaboration that we're looking for.
That is very customer-centric as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is the only thing that works is making our customers happy in the end.
Exactly.
And then last but not least, as I said, with corporate customers, there's a lot of compliance going on, and it's usually a lot more difficult to get started and to get in as well. So there we are really flexible to see how their process works, how their purchasing works, and how we can collaborate. So in our enterprise team, actually, we run some other methodologies as well. Often, they have a big internal team already, so we integrate, we train them, and we really work together. So then,
makes sense.
For these really big accounts and the big projects, we do what makes sense for the customer, really.
Absolutely. Super interesting, Simon. Now this year comes to an end. So what are your ambitions, your objectives as well for the upcoming year?
Yeah, I mean, we have been growing reasonably fast the last years. I think this will continue. We are always, as I said, we're looking out for these more complex, a bit bigger, more international projects. So this is also why we're planning to become one of the best Odoo partners in Germany, hopefully the best one day.
In Europe, you mean?
Oh, sorry, in Europe, yes, in Europe. Yeah, and this is our main focus for now. But, obviously Germany is our home. So we will stick around there and visit the other German-speaking countries as well.
Great. Sounds super exciting as well. Well, finally, I'm very much looking forward to... That was too easy, Simon, sorry.
I get 100 much puns a day, so this is like number 52, thank you.
But I'm looking forward to your talk that you will give tomorrow at Odoo Experience this year, which is actually, succeeding in the age of AI with Odoo Enterprise. Well, can you give us a sneak peek of what the presentation will be about and why AI?
Yeah. So I think the AI topic is very, very present right now everywhere. And what we have been seeing with this AI trend, right? There's like a trend every now and then. It's a very generative AI driven. And we really like generative AI. We use it, for example, also to write documentation and support the processes. But in ERP, generative AI only helps in some text boxes, but it doesn't really automate your processes really well. So for the core processes, finance, inventory, purchasing, you need a lot of other AI tools as well. And as I said, we're really efficiency, automation focused, and we have been consulting around this and automating around this using AI for a couple of years. And we're going to basically talk about AI, but we're going to look beyond what generative AI does, beyond all the hot topics this year. What else will happen? What else will come? And how you get this into Odoo, which I guess is the main focus for all of us.
Exactly, and especially with the VCF 17, with some more AI-specific functionalities as well in the standard, but as you said, not really process-specific, so in terms of automation and stuff. So
exactly.
So it's going to be very interesting, and of course, auditors can stream actually as the talk will be streamed. They can watch it on the Odoo channel, YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Simon. It was a very, very interesting talk I had with you. Always a pleasure, right? Wishing you a lovely and exciting Odoo experience still, and good luck for the talk tomorrow.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much.